Hello and welcome to another episode of the GCSE Maths Question of the Week with me, Mr. Barton, where every week I pick out a lovely question just for you to help you prepare as best you can for your GCSE Maths exam. Now, I always pick out questions that have got a slight little twist to them. Questions that for some reason are causing students all around the country tons of problems on my Diagnostic Questions website. And this question is a particularly good example of that, because if I say to students, and particularly my students, do you know your averages? They go, yeah, of course I do. Mean, median, mode, all that kind of stuff. If I say to them, can you work out your averages? Most of them, yeah, of course I can. Add them up, divide them by how many, and so on. However, then when it comes to using those averages, interpreting them, comparing data, that's when the nightmares begin. And this is what this question's all about. So let's take a look at it. It's been kindly provided by Edexcel, by the way. So you were given data on the lifespan of two different batches of a light bulb. I bet you're very excited to receive that data. Manufactured by the same company. By looking at the data, decide which of the statements below is true. Okay, and we get some facts. The mean of batch A is 1,600. The mean of batch B is 1,800. The range of batch A is 300. The range of batch B is 400. Okay, so probably the easiest thing to do, I think, is to take each of these statements in turn, and let's see if we can conclude that one of them is right. And I'm going to go through each one. So statement A, on average, batch B's light bulbs last longer and are more consistent. Okay, if batch B's light bulbs on average last longer, that must mean B's mean is greater than A's mean, because what you've got to remember is mean is a measure of average. So B's mean must be greater than A's mean if on average B's last longer. Now what about consistent? If B's are more consistent, well, consistency isn't anything to do with average. Consistency is to do with how spread out something is. So for B's to be more consistent, B's range, so the spread of the times that these light bulbs last, has got to be less than A's range. So on average, the light bulbs have got to last longer, and the range has got to be smaller. Well, is that true? So let's have a look. B's mean is greater than A's, looking good, strong start. But B's range is also greater than A's, so they are not more consistent, they are more spread out. So that's not looking good, but that's okay, that's one down, that's fine. B, on average, batch A's light bulbs last a shorter length. So that's telling me that A's mean, if they last a shorter length on average, that's got to be less than B's mean. On average, they last longer, but are more consistent. That's telling me that A's range, if they're more consistent, is also going to be less than B's range. Smaller range, more consistent. Well, is that true? A's mean is 1,600, B's is 1,800. Good, strong start. A's range, 300, is less than B's range. Okay, we seem to have our winner. But you know, we're not going to stop there, because who's to say we haven't made a mistake? And we can learn tons of things along the way. So we're all having a good time, aren't we? Let's keep it going. On average, batch A's light bulbs last a shorter length. So A's mean is less than B's mean if they last a shorter length. And are less consistent. So that's going to tell me that A's range, if A's less consistent, is greater than B's range. Remember, and I know I'm sounding like a broken record here and you're thinking, shut up, but I'll say it again. If they're less consistent, it's a bigger range. Okay, so let's just weigh these up. Let's go for a bit of green here. A's light bulbs last shorter, so A's mean less than B's mean, correct. A's range, unfortunately, smaller, so that's wrong. Okay, good. Now here's my favourite one. Take a deep breath. Get ready for this. Batch B's best light bulb lasts longer than batch A's. Now, you will be tempted to say that this is definitely true. And indeed, it could well be true. But is it definitely true? Is it certainly true? So, on average, B's light bulbs last longer. There's no doubt about that. And the range of bulbs in B is longer. But does that mean that they definitely last longer? Well, probably the best way to think about this, and it's not a perfect way, but let's just imagine we've got, let's put here 1,800 and let's put here 1,600. okay? And let's have A's light bulbs. So A's light bulbs, the mean of them is 1,600. So they're all essentially scattered around here, okay? They could be. But they've got a range of 300. So we know there could well be one that just appears up here. Could be one, could be two, could be whatever, okay? And in fact, if it's got a range of 300, then potentially it could go all the way over here, you know, to kind of 1,900 territory, all right? Now let's have a think about batch B's light bulbs. Again, they've got a mean of 1,800, so a lot of them are going to be scattered around the 1,800 mark. But there may be a few that are a little bit bigger, but the range is 400. So in fact, there might just be like one or two down here. So we can see that the range of batch B, sorry, the mean of batch B is around about 1,800. That's why on average they last longer. And the range is a little bit more spread out. Okay, and in fact, God, the range goes, it's 400, right? So the range could be right down to there. However, there is no guarantee that this kind of strongest performing light bulb happens to come from batch B. It could quite easily come from batch A. So there's no guarantee that D is definitely true. Therefore, our only one that's true that we know for certain is B. So that's why B is going to be the right answer. Now, again, it's this time of the show, where I like to say to you, what other wrong answer would you come up with? Again, it's completely up to you here. I would be tempted to focus in around the range and say something like, I mean, this is quite a good one. You should always buy batch B, something like that. Because people think, the mean, that's better. All right, so it lasts longer, so I'm always going to buy batch B. But look, the range is longer. So that may mean whilst you're on average getting better, you're losing a bit on consistency. And we can kind of see that down there, right? Whilst a lot of the bulbs are around about 1,800, you might get a few duds in there that last around about 1,400. Whereas with batch A, maybe because they've got a better consistency, you're going to be a little bit more sure about how long your bulb's going to last. Anyway, as I say, the key takeaway from this is it's not enough just to know your averages. It's not enough just to know your mean, median, your mode and your range. And of course, a range isn't an average. It's not enough just to know how to calculate them. You've got to know how to use them and what they actually mean. Okay? So my advice to you, try the rest of the quiz out. It's a good one. And then, if you need a bit more practice, hop onto mrbartonmaths.com and try out some videos, worksheets, all that kind of stuff. And I'll see you for a fresh question of the week next week. Take care. Bye for now.